Greetings, everybody. This is Eli from the YouTube channel, The Life of Eli, and I'm gonna ask you to please like this video and subscribe to this channel. I'm gonna tell you a very scary story, and quite frankly, it's a story that I don't like recalling because it was an incredibly frightening experience that I had. Uh, when I got to the city of Dallas, and that was quite a while ago. Uh, I originally was living in the suburbs with a friend of mine. He let me crash on his couch, to let me get myself on my feet here in Dallas. And I lived with him for a period of time, found a job, started working and everything. And after a time, he told me, well, my son is gonna be coming for the summer, and I would like to be able to spend a lot of time with him. And would you be able to at this point find someplace else to live? And I said, absolutely. I had been planning to leave anyway, so I began looking for a place to live. And I saw the strangest ad in the Dallas newspaper, because I would be looking in the newspaper, in the classified, something that most of you have no longer even used. But at that time, you would look in the classifieds if you wanted a place to live, or go to a real estate agent. I saw a house that was being given away for free in this part of Dallas called West Dallas. And I said, no way, this is a scam. And but for reasons that I can't even explain to you, I kept going back again and again to to uh, to that ad. And I finally said, but let me call him. I know that there's a scam going on here, but I'm gonna call. I'm gonna see what's up. And I called him. I talked to this old. Actually, it wasn't old. I talked to this guy who sounded like a really nice person. Sounded like a Christian man and everything. And he was. I told him, Mister, you sound like if you're on the up and up. What's this about? And are you really giving away a house? And he said, absolutely. And I said, well, I bet you have a lot of people lined up to take that house. And he told me, no, well, actually, I haven't. I haven't had a lot of people try to get it. And I told him, well, can I meet with you and see this house? And he says, absolutely, absolutely. So I meet with him. And this house is located in a really nice part of, it wasn't the greatest part of Dallas, but the neighborhood was really nice. Lots of old trees, cottage style homes. The house was really, really nice. It was a clapboard house, had a lot of pecan trees. Back east, they call them pecan trees. They would call them pecan trees, but here in Texas, we call them pecan trees. Just a nice old house. It had like 3 bedrooms. It wasn't huge, but it was really nice. And I told them, hey man, what's the catch here? Why are you giving this house away? And this guy, he looked like a church deacon, a really nice white guy, just as friendly could be. And, he tells me, well, I have a mortgage. This house belonged to old relative of mine who has passed. And I don't want to have 2 mortgages. And I told him, well, okay, no problem. I'm definitely interested. I'm looking for a place to live. Why don't you go ahead and tell me what I have to do in order to get this house in my name? And he goes, nothing. But there is a existing mortgage. You have to pay X, let's just call it X number of dollars a month. And it was very, very little money. So I said, absolutely, let's do this. And we did it. I moved in, got a U-Haul, got all my junk, moved into the house, and was feeling really, really good about it. It was the beautiful little house. It had wooden floors, and had a fireplace. The bedroom was had an ensuite, meaning that it had its own little bathroom, and then there was a larger bathroom outside for guests. I was just really thrilled with the house. The yard was not paved, but it was gravelled, and it also, like I said, it had like five huge pecan trees, which meant that in the autumn nuts would fall out of the trees, and it was just a wonderful little setup. Anyway, I moved into the house, and the first night that I was there, I went to sleep, fell asleep, was feeling really good, and then I heard the water go on in the kitchen, and I said, "Uh oh, loose valve. Let me get in there, turn it off." I go into the kitchen and I look at the sink, and sure enough, the water is running. I get the heebie-jeebies talking about this thing. It makes my skin crawl a little. I looked and the water was running, but I felt a chill. I felt something weird and going on. And I look and there's an old man dressed all in white sitting at the kitchen table. I had a round kitchen table. The kitchen was a eat-in kitchen. And I looked at him and I said, "Excuse me, sir, what are you doing here?" And I began to notice something about him. His skin was as white as a sheet. He was dressed in white from head to foot. And he was wearing a white hat, a straw hat, looked like a cowboy hat, but it was made out of straw. And I could tell by looking at him that he was a old Mexican guy. And I spoke to him in Spanish. I asked him, "Sir, señor, ¿qué tú quieres? ¿Qué está haciendo aquí, sir? What are you doing? What do you want? What are you doing here?" And he just looked at me. And suddenly I felt an icy cold, all over me. And I realized I was talking to a ghost. I grew up in a culture in which, the idea of ghost doesn't scare us. Our attitude is a ghost can't do anything to you. So I told him, I decided, hey, you know what? I'm not afraid of you. Told him, okay, uh, you have a good night, sir. And I turn off the water and I go back to bed. This was to repeat itself several times over the next few days. And I didn't feel any fear. I would go in the kitchen, I would turn off the water, and I would address the ghost. I would tell him, "Hey, sir, how are you? Is everything okay?" And he would just look at me with these big eyes. They kind of glowed a little bit. And then one day, one evening rather, wind is outside blowing really hard. It felt more like if I was in West Texas than West Dallas. I mean, there was a terrible windstorm going on outside, and at this point, the pecans have begun to fall out of the trees. So I'm hearing knocks on the roof. Pack, pack, pack. And that was kind of a little unnerving. But I managed to, climb in my bed, make myself comfortable, and go to sleep. And this time the water goes off again, but it goes off in the bathroom. And I open the door and I look in, and there's a little girl who looked exactly the way the old man had looked, as white as a sheet, dressed all in white, holding a little white doll. And I suddenly realized that I was again looking at another ghost. And I said, "Little girl, you don't belong here. Please leave." And she just kept staring at me. I closed the bathroom door and I went back to Sleep. I could barely sleep, but I did it. I was working really hard in those days, and I was tired. And morning comes, I go about my business. But after that, I became a little bit frightened, and I started parking my car next to my bedroom window. A couple of nights later, again, the same thing repeats itself, and I'm terrified at this point. I go in the bathroom, I turn on the water, and the little ghost is standing there looking at me. I go to sleep, and at some ungodly hour, I want to think it was like 3 a.m., someone starts knocking on my bedroom door, and outside the wind is blowing, and I'm hearing the pecans hitting the roof of the house. I something something in me just snapped. I got up, I put on my clothes, opened the bedroom window, hopped out the window, climbed in my car, and drove all the way back to my buddy's house. And I told him, hey, listen, put me up for the night. And he goes, what happened? And I told him, I don't want to discuss it. Just let me sleep here. And he said, sure, no problem. Next day, I got a, a motel room. And I went back to that neighborhood. I love the neighborhood. I wanted to stay there. I went back and I looked. And actually, there was a house available for rent right next door to me. And I contacted those people and made arrangements. And I moved in there. And that, in and of itself, is another story for another day. But I called the guy that I was buying, that I had bought the house from, and I told him, what is going on with that house? Why didn't you tell me? What didn't you tell me? And he goes, oh, well, some people died there weirdly. And I'm a good Christian man. I don't believe in hauntings. I don't believe in ghosts. Some people claim that the house is haunted and they're ghosts. And I asked him, why haven't you rented it out or something? He said, well, I had several people try to rent it, and most of them ended up running from the house. They said that they encountered ghosts. And I told him, listen, I'm going to give you back. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do so. Please share this video. Thank you very much. I have other ghost stories to tell. That, by the way, this is not made up. This actually happened. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week.